Have you ever wondered what the world would be like if we didn't have automobiles? Well, automobiles haven't always been around. Automobiles have an enormous impact on our everyday lives. We rely on them for all forms of transportation. We rely on them to go to work, to school, down the road, to the gas station, anywhere. The purpose of my speech is to inform the audience on the history of automobiles. I feel that I'm qualified to inform you about automobiles because not only have I done a lot of research on this topic, but I've worked on automobiles all my life and I'm even ASE certified. Today I'm going to inform you about the contributors to the first automobile, how the automobiles worked, and who drove the first automobiles. First, I'll tell you about the contributors to the first automobiles. According to ausbecomp.com, steam-powered cars were first developed by both French and British engineers in the late 1700s. A German engineer, Carl Benz, made the first gasoline-powered automobile in the 1800s, which turned out to be very successful. In the early 1900s, Henry Ford designed the first American automobiles, which were the models A and T, and he designed them on an assembly line. They could be built in just 93 minutes. Next, I will tell you about how the first automobiles worked. According to history.com, the first steam automobile worked by water being poured into a boiler. The steam then expanded and pushed a piston which drove a crankshaft. The first electric cars were powered by small electric motors which surprisingly used rechargeable batteries. They were very expensive and it took a long time to get anywhere because the batteries were constantly having to be recharged. Gasoline cars contain a cylinder which sucks in fuel, and then the fuel is ignited and causes an explosion which drives a piston which turns a crankshaft which is connected to a transmission which drives the rear wheels, and so on and so forth. Finally, I'll talk about who drove the first automobiles. According to about.com, the first automobiles were purchased as a status symbol more than just for convenience. Only the wealthiest people could afford cars in the early years. After 1900, wealthy people began buying cars for convenience other than pleasure. Even doctors began purchasing automobiles because they were more reliable than horses. When Henry Ford invented the Model T, it became normal to see cars in the driveways of homes. Even people in rural areas purchased automobiles for convenience. In conclusion, I shared with you the history of the automobiles. I have informed you about the contributors of the first automobiles, who drove them, and even how they worked. I felt qualified to speak on the topic because even though I already knew a lot about automobiles, I've even learned more through extensive research. Now we can see how important the automobiles are to us as humans, how they have changed our lives. Learning about the history and the evolution of the automobile helped me to better understand the effects they have on society today.